Before I start off this video, I have a couple of announcements that I want to make. If you want to skip right to the meat of this video, go ahead and skip ahead on the timeline to right about here. So, a few announcements. First off, I have surpassed 500 subscribers, and I can't believe it either. It's only been a little over a year, I would say, and yet it feels like my reach is growing more and more each day. It's probably because of you guys watching my videos, discovering them for the first time, subscribing to the channel, leaving likes, comments. It all helps because that's how the algorithm works. Secondly, I haven't told this to too many people, but I have a new career path ahead of me in July, and it'll involve me traveling overseas to China for like a whole year. I don't think I've been more excited to be outside of the US. Yes, this is completely serious, but I'm also anxious and a little scared as well, as you would if you've never been outside of the United States, especially to a country that's a little bit different than Western culture. Let's hope this doesn't affect my upload schedule, though I might be doing a series on the side, documenting my time in China, and that includes the Chinese furry community. Okay then, on to the rest of the video. Since getting 500 subscribers is pretty special to me, I'm going to make this video just as special. I just wanted to do something with my old reviews as well, because I feel like they're pretty rough and aren't as good as my current work. They're the awkward first steps towards a confident stride. But instead of doing a whole new review, I'll just skip to the good part and put it through my chance system. I might update my general thoughts as well, but nothing too major. Mainly just some things I've noticed on another viewing or two. So let's start with my first ever review, Stellaluna. My overall opinion hasn't changed after watching it again, but I don't hate it as much as when I first watched it. I know you can't tell from how low energy I was in that review, and trust me, I have worked on that. Some of the stories that were read include classics like J.K. Rowling and Dr. Seuss and all that. But I basically wanted a refund on the $5 I spent at the used DVD and video game store that I bought it from. It doesn't live up to the book it's based on. It added unnecessary side characters just to kind of spruce it up and give it the more kids movie quality. And overall, it's just kind of meh. So meh, in fact, that I couldn't come up with a snappy middle name joke for the review, apparently. I actually had a backlog of about 30 or so that I plan on using for these reviews, and most of them either don't fit or weren't funny the second time I read them again. Like, they were just random pop culture references that didn't actually fit any of the themes of the movies that I was watching. I might bring some of them back, but I lost that little note on my phone. So anyway, I still do like the extras on the DVD that I got that go into the super duper bat facts, but I wish some of them were better integrated into the film. Maybe replace the filler side characters with these integrated bat facts, and you might have a better movie. Now that that's out of the way, let's get to the good stuff, and we'll see how furry Stellaluna is. This time I'll be using my chance system instead of just vaguely discussing its anthro qualities for like a minute out of the 10-minute video. Yeah, my format has changed for the better since then. This handy rubric I use comes through a movie's furry qualities, those being cast, harmony, anthropocentrism, narrative, commonality, and expression. We'll start with cast, or how many characters there are both important to the narrative and are furry. There aren't a lot of characters in this film, but that's okay because no matter how many characters I do include, there are no human characters in this story. At all. I'll talk about this later in commonality, but you have the adorable Stellaluna, the kind of annoying baby birds and mama bird, and I guess the spider that wasn't from the original story. Pretty cut and dry here, no main characters that are human, means a perfect 4 out of 4. Next is harmony, or how natural the furries are to the setting. I had trouble deciphering what part of the world this movie took place in the first time around, but ultimately, after doing some research, I settled on somewhere in South America. Probably something I'm kicking myself over now that I've actually researched this and discovered most likely the area where you have bats, owls, colorful birds, colorful spiders, and monkeys and other animals. Considering that I concluded this to be the Amazon rainforest, that should give you a clue to how natural these anthropomorphic animals are to their setting. Another 4 out of 4. Moving on to anthropocentrism, or how close these anthros are to being human. This film's main goal is to show differences between species and how we shouldn't judge one species for its lack of abilities inherent to others, or as I've said in my previous review, Don't judge a bat by its ability to be a bird. So I'm glad to see that there's still plenty of animal traits being featured here, and that the characters still talk and emote like people do, even giving visibly expressive body language. And while that might not be as anthro as the characters in Robin Hood or Zootopia, I don't think they need to be for the story to work. I will gladly give this a 2.5 out of 4. And next is narrative, or how important these furries' animal nature is to the narrative. The core narrative is as furry as you can get. We're talking about a full-on species crisis that a young bat is going through after being torn from her original bat family.
Final words. This place is for the birds.
This story is like a quintessential example of how you can incorporate anthropomorphic animals meaningfully into a story, which is why despite the mediocre execution, that I still don't hate this movie completely. Now, don't get me wrong, there are much better animated movies that have species-based narratives like Zootopia or Watership Down, but that doesn't stop me from giving Stellaluna a 4 out of 4 on this quality. Then we have commonality, or how prevalent anthros are outside of the main cast. Again, no humans in this film outside of the DVD's extras. We have the two, I guess I called them life partner birds. I accused them of chewing up the scenery and padding out the movie, but that's not really fair to say. They do reinforce the message of staying true to yourself without having to dress up, literally, as something that you're not. Even though they're not from the original story, they do have a decent purpose in the story. Outside of that, there's also all of the other bats that Stellaluna finds later in a big cave, and all of the animals in the background. And, that's all I could find. Solid 4 out of 4 once again. Finally, we have expression, or how furry they actually look. The more Western art style, and by that I mean not anime, really adds to this quality, but it's not complete realism either. As I mentioned in my older review, they ditched the more detailed artwork that's absolutely amazing, again, just want to clarify that, in favor of something simpler and easier to animate. I understand that, you know, it's almost like a finely cut middle ground between toony and realistic, if not really that appeasing to the eyes. I mean, it's not ugly, it's just not very beautiful. Sometimes in cartoons, you would have these big, expressive, white human eyes, but in this cartoon, it's closer to what their real-life animal counterpart would have, aside from the little eyelashes to notate their gender and the eyelids to show more facial expression. It's just enough that it shies away from a perfect 4, so I'll call it a 3.5 out of 4. After a tally of each score, we have a final total of 22 out of 24. And that's actually the highest score a film has gotten so far using my system, but I'm still very eager to see if that changes and something somehow surpasses it. Overall, I'd call this, sadly, some wasted potential on a really good kid's story, but it's still very much a furry tale. And I'll repeat what I said at the end of my first review, that okay for kids, maybe not so much for the adult furry fans, unless you're kids at heart, and then, I don't know, it's up to you.
For not only are you a fruit bat, but you're also a member of the brave and daring Flying Foxes.
I am a flying fox? If only a Scary could hear this.
What a life! You get to stay up all night, eat messy food, and hang upside down all you want!
If you like this type of video, then I'll keep doing it whenever I can't think of something to review. Or if you guys just want me to take a second look at a previous video of mine. This has been Gregor Gone Batty Reindeer with How Furry Is It? And Review, I guess I'm calling the series. Click on the like button if you enjoyed what you saw, and subscribe and hit the bell icon if you want to see more anthro analysis and antler antics. And since you're still here, go ahead and check out my Patreon page. Patreon lets you pay creators like me directly through a monthly paid subscription, and if you're generous enough, you can even have your name in the credits before each review, or help me co-produce a review. I also have a special Discord server for my patrons, but you can also send me single donations through Ko-fi, that's Ko-Fi. And as always, thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.